I'm tired of traveling, or fighting superstition in its many manifestations. Even though it was me who chose to debunk folklore and mysticism. Little did I know I'd end up being labelled as Patrick Galloway, the man with endless occult knowledge. Before I knew it, people all over the world paid me to investigate all kinds of weird things. As long as they paid me, I'd look into it. Funny thing though, the more I saw, the more I believe there are forces beyond our control. Creatures not explainable in any human terms. Things that make my skin crawl. I fled from Ireland and hung around Paris and London with no real purpose till the Great War started. I joined a special unit whose job it was to squelch the fears of the superstitious farm boys who made up the fighting ranks. The Trasanti were the biggest pains. New commanding officer, Jeremiah Covenant, led our unit in the hunt for their camp. We were ambushed. They came streaming out of the woods, waving swords and howling like banshees. I saw their leader holding a strange stone over his head, yelling weird words in a strange tongue. And just when he was gonna pull the trigger, he glared right at me. A bright green flash came from his hand, and it bowled me over as my gun went off. I woke up in a hospital bed with severe burns. They told me Jeremiah and the unit had gone on without me, but he'd given me the shaman stone to keep. I hadn't given any of this much thought until I came back here to find this letter that Jeremiah wrote me almost 6 months ago, asking me to come back to Ireland and help him out. This is not something I'm dying to do, for it may mean the death of me. He saved my life though, so I owe it to him. Just hope it's not too late.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the GOAT Network. I am your host Wizard, and today on RetroGOAT we are taking a look at Clive Barker's Undying. I'm currently getting my ass handed to me by these monsters. So, Clive Barker's Undying, as you might imagine, it's co-developed by Clive Barker and developed by Dreamworks Interactive, their last game, published by EA Games back in 2001. Oh, gotta heal up, that hurt. And this is another pure example of a superb game that no one bought and no one played, although it was praised by critics. I don't know why it didn't sell, actually. So you'll just have to look that up online somewhere. Anyways, I thought I'd show this game off to you guys, seeing as it's one of my favorite horror games of all time. Down, boy. Due to its immersive storyline and its fairly innovative gameplay. As you see here, it's traditional FPS style, and you got health and you also have mana. So why do you have mana? Well, you might recognize this combat system. See, you got magic in one hand and weaponry in the other. Does it ring a bell? Skyrim, perhaps? Yeah, so this basically had the combat system that Skyrim premiered recently, back in the year 2001, which was fairly innovative at the time, and also makes for a very fun experience. I think there's about 8 weapons all in all, and 9 spells that you will find throughout the gameplay.
Won't budge.
So there's pretty much to play around with. This is the Tibetan War Cannon, which I found just recently. This is about 40-60 minutes into the gameplay of main game here. And as you see, this game has a very nice old school creative aesthetic to it. It's set in the 1920s, and we are playing as Patrick Galloway, sort of a 1920s adventurer type, He's a World War I veteran, Irish, and he seeks out occult stuff and fights them. Well, he hasn't found any occult stuff for real until he came to this mansion, which is owned by Jeremiah Covenant, who was his commander in World War I. So they're old buddies, and Jeremiah Covenant called for Patrick Galloway to help him out at his mansion, the Covenant Mansion, which is where we are currently. And we're being attacked over and over again by these ugly... Where did you go? Oh, get back here. Yeah. So, Patrick Galloway came over to this mansion to help Jeremiah with a curse of some sort. Because the whole of the Covenant family has been wiped out somehow, and monsters roam the estate. So I don't want to spoil much about the story, but there are copious amounts of in-game lore, and it's presented through a pretty unique way. You have, of course, cutscenes, in-game cutscenes, which are not standalone movies, more like, well, I wouldn't say Half-Life style, but it's set in the game engine instead of just standalone movies, which is pretty nice. And oh, I think you'll see one soon, actually. Come on, open up. There we go. Now, if I move... Wait, isn't this... Okay. Well, maybe we'll find one soon, I think, and you'll be able to see yourself. And it's also presented through the journal. You pick up books, and you pick up letters, and the story is very well presented, actually, and very immersive if you get by the now dated graphics. So it has pretty damn good music as well. Produced by Bill Brown. I don't know if you know about him. And there's also pretty decent voice acting. Let me see if we can find someone that has some voice acting. Come on, hello. Oh, a little bit of an evil laugh there, at least. So you encounter ghosts and monsters throughout the game, and you'll have to deal with them certain ways. Let's see. I think we might be able to get to that thing over there. That's an amplifier. We want to find those because they can improve our magic, like level up our magic a little bit. So let's see. No, I don't want to get pushed into that fireplace there. There we go. I got an amplifier, so I will just use my inventory system here, amplifier, and use that on my current spell, which is Ectoplasm. It's a basic attack spell. Looks like that. And you can fire and shoot spells at the same time. Which actually... there we go. That's the type of cutscene you get in this game. Die! You also get like conversations when you meet NPCs of different types. It will temporarily lock you in place and make it a little bit of a cutscene, although you can still look around. So it feels a little bit like the storytelling in Half-Life, except a couple of more elements added into it. One of the most interesting elements, here we go, is the ability to scry. So what is scrying? Well, it is a spell. There's a little mini puzzle here. Just gotta light all these up. Scry is a spell that allows you to clearly see monsters and also allows you to see hidden stuff around the map. Well, not the map, but the place you're at currently, where you are looking. I just found a new spell. Spell, there we go. Lets me dispel this barrier. So there are some minor... Oh crap, I'm just gonna run from these guys. There's some minor puzzles to take care of.
Need a key.
And you need to find keys like a traditional FPS. Get by. Come on. Servant keys. And there we are.
Won't budge.
And I'm actually surprised that even though there were pretty damn harsh technical difficulties back in the day to make a large world, they have kind of succeeded a little bit in this game at least, seeing as you can move in a pretty free manner, although the storyline is linear and you need to get to certain points. But you will travel across the estate, which stretches quite a distance. And you'll be both in outside environments and, of course, inside environments.
Jammed.
Come on.
Won't budge.
So I'm not supposed to go here, right?
Won't budge.
Well, this is a side area then, and you can find several different hidden areas, and it makes for good replay value as well, especially with the scry ability that I was just talking about. Let me see if I can find something to actually use the scry ability on. Just gonna heal up a little bit, and let's select scry. So when I activate scry, I get this, which is basically, yeah, you see there's an enemy, and it lights up. So if you're in a dark area with a lot of enemies, you wanna use that one as well. But it is also useful for finding like secret storyline messages and so on. Because when you use this, like a painting might shift character from a nice looking face to a horrible, twisted, bloody picture. Some description. Or you might hear sounds
Won't budge.
that describe a certain part of the story somehow. Like I found a bedchamber earlier where someone had given birth, so I activated scry. And you know to activate scry when you hear a slight whisper in the soundtrack. It's like, look, or scry. And then you know to activate the scry ability. Or you can have your first weapon, which barely is a weapon, the Gelsibar Stone, equipped. And that will light up when you're close to a scry position. It will also amplify your magic abilities. So right now you see there are two dots down there on the right hand side by my magic symbol. If I remove this and instead equip one of the other weapons, you will see I only have one spot. So this can be very useful if you have an attack spell like Ectoplasm. Because the Gelsibar Stone also pushes enemies away without dealing damage. So you can push them away and you can fire on them with this. So there's a decent amount of... oh, get away from him! There's a decent amount of depth in the combat. Go down. Go down! There we go. Are you going to talk to me? Ugh. Ugh, blood. Yeah. And it's quite fun in itself, this gameplay system. But what makes this game so magnificent is the fantastic storytelling of Clive Barker. I mean, he's not called a master of horror for no reason. Come on, talk to me. Very well, ignore me then. As you see, we're now outside. This manor is a very classical horror environment, and the story itself feels like a dark fairy tale a little bit. And the 1920s setting is, well, it's pretty damn good for a survival horror game. Let's just see
what can you tell me about Lisbeth?
I've seen her. I've seen poor Elizabeth on the heather.
When?
I was coming back to the manor one evening, and I saw a silhouette perched atop a hill. At first, I thought it was a banshee, but I caught a glimpse of her face by the family mausoleum. It was Lisbeth, poor dear.
Family mausoleum?
It's to the west of the main house, through the trees.
Is that near the standing stones by chance?
Standing stones? You have no need to go out there. There's nothing but bad luck and suffering for all who visited that island. I'll unlock the gate to the outer grounds, but I assure you that venturing out to the standing stones will lead to no good.
Right, so there you see one other part of the storytelling. A conversation where I don't have any options to pick from, but it's very decent, and the character, Patrick Galloway, is very likable, actually. And I read an interview where Clive Barker said that when he came into the development of Undying, because he came into this when it had already been developed to a certain degree, they had another main character, and he wasn't that good, to say the least. Instead, he described that I wanted a main character that you want to have sex with. that's basically what he said. And well, Patrick Galloway is a likable guy. Seems down to earth, pretty realistic, easy to relate to, and he got himself into this mess. Wow, he got himself into this mess without knowing the consequences, and he just have to take them. Oh no. Ow! Die! Yeah. So, as you can see, we're now outside. Sky Dome is horrible. However, this is one of those games that really deserves an HD remake. Really. Because everything is there, and these types of games aren't made anymore. It's rather long. It has a very good storyline, as I said. Good gameplay. But the graphics nowadays are pretty dated. The sound quality could be improved. And of course it could become a little bit more free roam, if you like that sort of thing. So this has been RetroGOAT, showcasing Undying. If you want to get your hands on this game, you can find it on Amazon. I'll add the price in the description. It's pretty cheap, just like $3.5 or something. It can be a little bit tough to get your hands on if you don't buy it from Amazon. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this RetroGOAT, and I'll see you around. Oh.